Okay, good morning. A couple things we're doing here this morning. Today I switched out the AC-15 with the load box, bring back the Nano Cortex. I haven't had this on in a while. And, since the version 2 captures came out, I really haven't explored them too much. So I figured since I have the Olivera, I might as well, revisit some of my kind of Rycooterish type of tones I like to make. So I found a version 2 Bandmaster amp, which is what we've got here this morning. I didn't really have to change much other than the input gain on the warm audio set Pedal 76. I changed the output compression just a little, so I had to mess with compression a little bit. So the signal chain is gain, Nano Cortex, into 76, PC2A, Equilux, Mustang GT, down to the Harmony Machine, right? Yeah, down to the Harmony Machine, Mood, Zoya, Olivera, and one other change this morning, Keeley Nocturne. I really liked the Halo Core, but I really didn't have a use for it. So I really like the idea of just a kind of a reverb version of that. Now, what I'm finding is I messed with it. I got this yesterday. I messed with it a little bit. I'm finding that I think I might like the spring and plate just as much as I like the Nocturne setting. But right now we've got a Nocturne setting. I've got the Olivera set up a little more like a slapback. I've got the Mood set up a little bit like a slapback. And I've got the Harmony Machine on the doubling setting, which is kind of what Rycooter does. I think what he's doing with his 3 delay setup is he's trying to emulate an actual oil can delay, because the oil can delays have a kind of a non-linear repeat. And I'm getting, obviously the Olivera has that non-linear repeat thing going on, but I think adding the Harmony Machine and the Mood in here has a nice way of just adding a space there. Now, the Bandmaster amp, or should I say just the version 2 captures, they do have a certain kind of life to them. So it's, in my ears, an audible improvement over the version 1 captures, which is interesting because now I want to redo all the other amps I have saved in here. Every time I think I want to sell this, I remind myself that I can experiment with any amp I want with this thing. The Boss GT1000 Core has its Air D amps, and those are unique to themselves. So you've got a finite amount of amps, with the Nano Cortex or any of these capture type devices. Like, you really do have, if you get in the mood for one thing one day, you could probably find something that'll get you close, which is what I really like about this. So today I've got a Bandmaster amp. I think that was one of the main amps Rycooter used for many years. I haven't dug around for a lot of version 2 amps, but today that's the amp I was looking for, so I'm happy I was able to find one. And it has, like I said, a certain life to it, so let's just do a jam. See what happens. That's almost too much decay here. Some sort of ambient room reverb there. Let's try that. Okay, so I don't normally get along with reverbs because they usually are some sort of weird, just dense blanket over everything. But this thing is like playing with a piece of velvety silk floating in the background. Like, wow, that is fantastic. And again, I didn't go into the spring or the plate on here, but I like those equally as much. I had no doubt going to explore those. I love the knobs on it. I love the name. I love the look. I love the nice blue LED on here. Like, awesome. And just the little adjustments. And forgive me, I spent a couple extra minutes there just kind of dialing in the level versus the decay. You know, I think, and, I'll find out when I listen back, but, to do kind of ambient or semi generative, whatever you want to call it, you don't really need an overt amount of delay or reverb. You just need the right combination of delay and reverb. And you won't be dependent on it. I don't think that particular sound was dependent on anything except the sound on sound loops. So I guess you could argue those are delays, but they're non-linear in that they're kind of always evolving, which is what my goal was with my patch on the Zoya here. But adding the reflections in, the doubling, first reflection, sound on sound loops and modulation, secondary reflections, and then just again, just the only words that come to mind are it's like super silky and it's like the smoothest reverb. The only other reverb I remember that I thought kind of gave me the same impression was the Digitech Polera, which I had many years ago. It had kind of that sublime. It was there, and like a compressor, you don't realize what it's doing until you turn it off. This just has such a wonderful, wonderful reverb sound, and I don't think it masked anything. I don't think it sounded like there was a blanket on anything. I don't think it sounded like it was in a natural space either. But in my setting, I don't need a natural space. So, wow, what a fantastic, fantastic reverb, and not very expensive, to be honest. So the Nano Cortex, every time I take it off, I think I have a better option, whether it be my actual amp through a load box, or in my case, currently at least, the GT1000 core. But then they came out with these version 2 captures, and there's a lot more. I mean, I've just got, like I said, a Bandmaster capture through it. I think the 8x10 cabinet, one of the stock cabinets, and I can't remember what I did for mic placement and whatnot. I just used my ears, but what more could you want? Now, do note that, and this is something I'm doing here that is different than most, is the only thing I've got in front of the amp is my gain. That's it. I'm using the signal pad to roll off the gain on the fuzz. As you can see, I have the fuzz dimed. So this is just mimicking rolling off my volume on my guitar, because, sorry, I'm too lazy to roll off both volume knobs every time I want to get a clean sound on a Les Paul. But, and then I'm going to my compression EQ. I'm just going to call the Mustang GT my gain stage, because it's like a 1073 style overdrive. And then again into all my wet effects. And again, another thing I'm doing a little different is I've got the stereo compression at the end, kind of again mimicking a bus compressor, I guess. And the only thing I have going on in the background, or in the box, I should say, is pure level, which is like riding the faders. I've got soft tube tape in there, and I went in yesterday and I dialed in all the different settings exactly the way I want. Usually I just hit a preset that sounds good enough and I'm done with it, but this time I decided to spend a little time dialing that in, and then of course limiting at the end. Looks like I came at about negative 16.2 LUFS and a negative 1.2 true peak. which is right in the ballpark. Normally I run a little hotter, but YouTube should not compress this because my LUFS is not exceeding 14. So you should hear it the way I'm uploading it. So let's get out of here and see what it sounds like.